Hello and welcome to Hooting Mandrills. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Sam.
And today we will be finishing the race to recap our cards of Aetherdrift, today focusing on green. Up first, we have Afterburner Expert, 2 in a green, Goblin Artificer, 4/2, Exhaust 2, green, put 2 1/1 counters on this creature. Whenever you activate an Exhaust ability, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So this is awesome. I mean, there's also Stampeding Scurryfoot on here.
I think Scurryfoot is not as far from being playable as it might look as a 1-drop. I think it's worse than the Goblin one, the Savannah Lions, or I guess Jackal Pup, although Jackal Pup had downside back in the old days. Anyway, I think the Goblin is mostly better. Its exhaust is cheaper, but this exhaust isn't terrible. Like, it's 3 in a green for making an elephant and putting a 1/1 counter on that creature. It's a thing you can put under a cauldron and make some bodies. It's not Draconotics Engineer. Draconotics Engineer is the wombo combo with Afterburner Expert here.
Obviously, yeah, you return the Afterburner Expert and then it resolves to give it haste.
So the 4/2s are coming in hot with their Afterburners. But if you want more 2-drops, want to be lower to the ground, aren't committed to Goblin synergies, I could see some number of Scurryfoots making it too. Not a terrible thing to put under Cauldron and get some new bodies to put Cauldronable exhaust abilities under. It's not a great card, but it's a maybe. But Afterburner Expert, love this card. Maybe my favorite card in the set. I love Death Mist Raptor, and they didn't give me Death Mist
Vine. We love all those cards, yeah.
Yeah, really fun cards that I would like to be on Arena, and this card perhaps will do in the meantime. I have to play Standard, though.
Well, you don't have to play Standard. You can play it in Pioneer, maybe. All right. Although none of the synergies are from any set other than...
They did say they'll make more exhaust cards, that they are planning to just use this as a keyword for a ability you activate only once.
Agonosaur Rex, 3 green, 8/8 trample, cycling, 2 in a green. When you cycle this card, put 2 1/1 counters on up to 1 target creature or vehicle. It gains trample and indestructible until the end of turn. So this card's valued. Like, 8/8 for 5 trample is pretty good. Just like being a dinosaur is not the worst thing to be either.
The dinosaur with antlers. He's cool. I love him. I hope he's good.
I mean, I think he's good. Obviously indestructible, fairly meaningless, but if they go for the throat, you're, I don't know, Hydra or something. You can discard this guy and draw a card and give him protection if they don't have a nowhere to run in play. Or nowhere to run doesn't remove indestructible. It just feels like it does. But yeah, it's cool. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, when I talked about Tyrox, talked about there maybe being a little bit of a graveyard angle to put on sort of aggro dinosaur deck. You cycle this profitably, you make it into a, Tyvar Stand X2. Better than that, actually. Better than Tyvar Stand at exactly X2. Less flexible, it doesn't just Snakeskin Veil for 1. But if you get a good cycle on this, you win a combat or you save a creature with it, and then you later, it's one of the dinosaurs in your graveyard to craft with Saheeli's Lettuce, you have more than an 8/4 menace, and it kills them. That feels pretty good. Older formats, the cycling is sort of a spell that you can cast that's Cascadey or Discovery decks. I've talked about and tried Atali's Favor before as a sort of redundancy with Violent Outburst as a 3-mana Cascade spell that you can use. You do need a creature to put it on, and that creature needs to not die or you'll get blown out. So you need to play these like little adventure make a token cards like Virtue of Loyalty or Steady Tortoise, and you need those not to die. Maybe this card's a piece of the puzzle there. I don't know. I think that's a lot more sketch, but I really want to like this card. I really want it to be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good. All right. Next we have Defend the Rider. 1 green instant, choose 1. Target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. Or create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this token saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles as though its power were 2 greater. So kind of a Tyvar Stand Snakeskin Veil type effect with the ability to make pilots.
So played straight up, it's a Snakeskin Veil that you will play if you are really mount or vehicle focused. I do think this card's sort of crazy in creativity in older formats. Both is a protection spell that stops your creativity from getting blown out by removal and just makes a token that you can creativity with at instant speed.
Yeah, I really think that's probably the home for this. I mean, it is permanent though. That's actually something, because
so it's like Tamiya safekeeping.
People are like trying to bounce your ley line. I could see maybe in like red green, if you're still an insane person like me, playing the ley line version. I mean, not that insane. That Odenheimer guy did win that thing, but yeah. So I think that this card is actually like, I was kind of like, fuck this card a second ago, but now that I think about it for more than a second, I kind of like it.
Yeah, and if you are ley lining, this also is sometimes going to be just, okay, end step, defend the rider, make a 1/1. It's actually going to be like a 7/4 on combat on my turn, and it's going to kill you. That will be a thing that happens sometimes. I could definitely see this card being better than Snakeskin Veil in that deck, now that you lay that out.
Now that I've thought about this card I'm finding out about this for the first time. No, I'm sorry, I didn't read all of the the cards, I guess, but this card's cool. All right, up next we have a good boy, District Mascot, 1 green. This creature enters with a 1/1 counter on it, 0/0. 1 and a green, remove 2 1/1 counters from this creature, destroy target artifact. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, put a 1/1 counter on it, saddle 1. So if we're doing Naya mounts with Kaladin, I think that this is a strong contender. It gets out of control after a little bit, and you're always going to be able to saddle it at 1.
I mean, when Outlaws of Thunder Junction came out, or if in Foundations they had added Universal Automaton, I would have tried to make that work in a mounts deck. Just being a 1-drop with the mount type to curve into Miriam is, I think, a huge deal for a deck like that. This card's actually good. This card has text on it other than 1/1 mount for 1. You play any 2-drop, it saddles this. This thing is a 2/2. It's a main deckable card that deals with artifacts. The saddle synergy also works well with Reluctant Role Model. It's a good 1-drop for some sort of Scalesy deck too. I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the best green cards they've printed in this set for sure. Okay, up next, another good card, Dredger's Insight. Whenever 1 or more artifact and or creature cards leave your graveyard, you gain 1 life. When this enchantment enters, mill 4 cards. You may put an artifact, creature, or land card from among the milled cards into your hand. So we're really getting somewhere with this card. We don't have a mill 4 take anything right now in green, especially. We have Overlord of the Baelmerk, which has restrictions, can't be lands, can't be horrors, right?
Yeah, it's a non-horror or non-avatar creature or planeswalker. Horrors are fine, but not avatar horrors. They don't want you to get other overlords back with it.
So, this is,
I think
pretty
its
good.
name is any permanent, but it only goes 3 deep.
Say its name only mills 3 cards. Yeah, this mills 4, which is a pretty big difference as things go. And this is a lot easier, as we've shown in our cards, recursible, where you can pick it up, play it again. Plus, the life gain isn't... Cards are leaving your graveyard in an Insidious Roots deck, as that's the point.
Roots, or maybe this is better than Cash Grab or Seed of Hope in the Crabs deck. It's going to miss more in the Crabs deck, but Seed of Hope also misses a lot in that deck. So a little bit both ways. But yeah, we have a lot of versions of this effect, but this is a good one, and it will be the best one for something.
Yeah, I mean, especially in Standard, where we don't have the Modern Horizon cards with Malevolent Rumble, yeah. So... cool card for sure. I think that Insidious Roots is definitely going to be the deck that people are really trying to play at Pro Tour Chicago. All right, Sam made me a little thing with Elvish Refueler that I asked for in the earlier ones. He didn't want to because this card is bad, but that doesn't matter. It's a 2 and a green, 2/3. During your turn, as long as you haven't activated an exhaust ability this turn, you may activate exhaust abilities as though they had hadn't been activated. So I guess, it doesn't quite do what I thought it did. I misread it my first time. I thought it just meant you're good. You can activate exhaust abilities as many times as you want. So you only get one additional exhaust ability per turn.
But sometimes that one additional exhaust ability is Lightning Bolt or Ancestral Recall. So,
Those are powerful abilities, yeah. I mean, or even just like recurring haste or, that blue-green. You only need to activate that one each turn on the blue-green. Also kind of just a bad card, but, it does the thing where you get to keep doing the exhaust abilities extra times, which is, kind of fun.
Next, we have Lumbering Worldwagon. 2 and a green, X4 vehicle. Its power is equal to the number of lands you control, and whenever it enters or attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, and shuffle. So, sort of comparable to Heaped Harvest. It accrues for 4, which is a lot. Sort of comparable to Heaped Harvest as these sort of rampy cards. You play it, it ramps you, and then you do a thing on a following turn and it ramps you again. The thing you do on the following turn for Heaped Harvest is eat a food or otherwise sacrifice it to, whatever. I guess the thing you have to do with this to get a extra ramp on a later turn is crew it and attack. I think this is a better 3-drop vehicle to 3-drop ramp vehicle than Cultivator's Caravan if you're trying to do Kona things.
If it gets removed, you still get the land to stick around, at least.
Yes, lands are harder to kill than artifacts.
It does landfall as well.
Kona is still as easy to kill as ever he was, but, that's not this card's fault.
Yeah, they printed just a better Kona in this set anyway, so we will...
What is the better Kona in this set?
Maybe that was a commander card, but this one.
Oh, I kind of think that card's worse Kona. We'll talk about it when we get to it, but...
Yeah, well, let's move on to our next card, which is March of the World Ooze. 3 and 3 green. Creatures you control have base power and toughness 6, and are oozes in addition to their other types. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, if it's not their turn, you create a 3/3 green elephant creature token, which is a 6/6 and an ooze, as long as March of the World Ooze is still out.
Classic giant enchantment that sort of affects the board, sort of does something if they remove it, at least if they remove it during your turn when you played it, but mostly kind of rough and too expensive for constructed. It will unfortunately remind all the commander players that Slime Against Humanity exists, so if you're trying to build around it in Pauper, it will continue to cost about 350 a pop, and therefore putting the amount that you need in your deck will run you $70.
Yeah, which, not a crazy amount to be spending on any deck in this game, where the game's so expensive, but Pauper decks are usually a little cheaper than $350 a card. All right, Oviya, Automech Artisan, 3 and a green for a 1/2. Each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. Green, tap, you may put a creature or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put an artifact onto the battlefield this way, put 2 1/1 counters on it. So yeah, no, I don't know why I said this card was better than Kona now that I've read it again. 1/2 is dies to everything. Doesn't have haste, so it takes forever to actually activate this ability unless you have Tyvar down. Or does Tyvar not give you...
Tyvar would work.
I guess, yeah, so
you could put this under a Cauldron. It is a better time to be an Elvish Piper in Standard than maybe it's ever been, because Cauldron is legal. You also have some other abilities like Fauna Shaman to maybe find this thing or bin this thing to Cauldron it and find things that you want to cheat out. It's worth trying, but these sorts of effects are usually pretty bad.
Yeah, it's kind of finicky, difficult to actually make work, but being able to Cauldron it is something. Up next, we have Point the Way.
With loot doing the Soy Jack meme.
So for 1 green, enchantment, start your engines. 3 and a green, sacrifice this enchantment, search your library for up to X basic land cards where X is your speed. Put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Wow. I mean, this is actually kind of a cool card for the Divine Lasher deck, you know, being able to just, I mean, and you don't even have to be at full speed either. You are at 3 speed and you pay 4 to get 3 landfall triggers. That's huge. I mean, if you have the Foundation's Hydra out, that's doubling 3 times plus your land drop for the turn. So kind of cool.
Little expensive for what it does, but it has potentially a lot of lands coming in.
Yeah, I mean,
there is sort of a pingy deck that could be good at speed. That
Vine Lasher is the natural friend to speed. So we could definitely see this card maybe in that deck. You also want to play Vine Lasher on 3, so having more stuff to do on turn 1 is, you know.
And you might just need more speed effects in that deck if you're trying to play the Muruganda Raceway.
For sure. All right, up next is Regal Imperiosaur, 1/2 green, 5/4 dinosaur. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. So just like this is a pretty reasonable Lord. A 5/4 for 3 plus a Lord ability. It's pretty good.
The Lord ability itself isn't as good in dinos because most of them are pretty expensive. But, you know, we talked about maybe being interested in playing some of these 2-drops. Your Belligerent Yearlings or Tyrox. Dinos is one of the decks in Standard that can play 8 elves, essentially, because they have Ixali's Lorekeeper. This card's funny with Polani's Hatcher. Makes the eggs 1/2s, makes the hasty 3/3 a hasty 4/4.
Bet you wish you put Defender on those eggs now, huh? No, it's not.
I really would like. I really would like Polani's Hatcher to be good.
I really like this card too. Yeah, I wanted to play dinosaurs for a long time in Constructed. I get everybody plays it in Commander, but I'm not gonna play Commander, so I don't know. I like all of these cards on screen, so maybe dinosaurs are in my future. I just want to play Kindred something. Maybe not as my main deck even, but just like to remind myself that it's possible and not lose every game would be nice.
Next, another sort of Kindred-y card, Run Over. 1 and a green, but it costs 1 less if it targets a mount or vehicle you control. Target creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So if you're playing mounts.deck, this is 1 mana instant speed bite. That's a playable constructed card.
Yeah, for sure. And most bites are sorcery speed or 2 mana, so the ability to be able to instant 1 mana do this is pretty powerful.
Yeah, one of the best mounts in a deck like that even has lifelink. So the bite is not just you can get blown out by removal, it's even sometimes upside.
Value. All right, Thunderous Velocipede, 1 green, vehicle 5/5, trample. Each other vehicle and creature you control enters with an additional 1/1 counter on it if its mana value is 4 or less. Otherwise, it enters with 3 additional 1/1 counters on it. Ooh. Crew 3.
This is sort of a tribute to the World Tree that sometimes can turn itself into a creature. Tribute to the World Tree doesn't see a ton of play in Standard. I think some Green Devotion builds have tried it in Pioneer and Historic. It's okay there, probably worse than Trailblazer at that role. But
yeah, I think it's tough to like worry about putting more counters on stuff so late in the game. I don't even really want to play the Ozolith. I want to play Hardened Scales because of like on turn 1 I can get away with it. On turn 2 it's just like a dead turn, and like now I'm gonna start putting counters on stuff. It's just rough. So I don't think that this card is very, very good in Constructed, but it is what it is. It's kind of cool anyway. All right, Webstriker Elite. 2 green, 3/3 reach, cycling X green. When you cycle this card, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment with mana value X.
Yeah, if there is a cheap artifact or enchantment you need to kill, if it's killing Seed of the Synod or Urza's Saga or a Karnstruct token for 2 mana and drawing a card, that's not bad. If the body is relevant and the cycling is upside, that's okay. It is 2 pips for Nykthos, and Nykthos can produce an annoying amount of mana that you can then spend on this if that's what you need to do. I could see decks wanting this.
Yeah, I guess you made a better case than I could make for this card. I don't really think there's got to be better ways. I guess if you're mono green, I don't know, even in green, like
if you're mono green, at least this is just a 3/3 for 2.
Like in older formats, you have destroy all enchantments for 2 mana. So if you really need more body, I don't know. There's just so many good destroy artifacts. I don't really see it, but maybe this card is okay in a sideboard or something in Green Devotion exclusively.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's either just like there's a standard green Stompy deck and the Watch Wolf base is good enough and the upside is sometimes good enough, or there's a like specific case where 2 for 1ing some very cheap like artifact or enchantment land basically in an old format is a good enough thing to be doing for 2 mana. Then maybe we're talking. I do agree it's pretty fringe and probably not like that exciting.
All right, well that concludes the entirety of our recap of Aetherdrift spoilers.
We mostly got it done before the set made it to Arena. At the time of recording, you have been able to download Aetherdrift on Arena for either half an hour or an hour. But
well, by the time it comes out, it'll be considerably longer.
Yeah, by the time it comes out, you'll already know whether we were right or wrong about many of these cards.
Yeah, you can call us idiots because you have the power of the future, but that's okay. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm already pretty sure I was wrong about Market Back Walker, just like thinking about it since we talked when we recorded that one. But oh well, cool. We will see you guys next time. Like, comment, subscribe.